Hi everybody, welcome to my very first review on this channel. Today, I'll be reviewing Ascendant Online, Book 1, Witness the Beginning. This was written by Joseph DeProfio, one of our very own from New Hampshire. This book is a wonderful introduction to the lit RPG genre, or literary RPG, for those who are not in the know. It's a nice short read. It's under 300 pages. I believe it clocks in at 272, if I remember correctly. So fairly short. It's a great read, nice, short, big font, so it doesn't take you very long at all. It took me about 5-6 hours to read, and that's dedicating like 1 hour per reading time, I guess you'd say. Anyway, a quick synopsis. This book is about our protagonist, Antonius King, or Tony King to his friends. He is selected to beta test the latest VR MMORPG, or virtual reality, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. And for those who don't know, a beta tester is someone who pretty much tries out a company's product before it's released to the general public. Anyway, so he puts on his VR headset, boots up the game, and then he is essentially whisked across the cosmos because Earth was destroyed. His body and soul were moved across the cosmos, and everything he's seeing and doing in this so-called game is real, and he finds that out pretty quick. Anyway, he's joined by a cast of characters including gods, a shaman, spider people, and a very cool sidekick named Maximus. Won't give away too much about him, but Maximus is my favorite character in the book. We need more Maximus. Give me more Maximus. Joe needs to create a book, or at least a comic book about Maximus. Maximus is cool. All the cool people like Maximus. But I digress. Anyway, so essentially, he's trying to become more powerful to kick the butt of the person whose fault it is that Earth was destroyed and he's taken away from his home. And that person is Ignatius, the maddened, crazed God King. Yes, there are gods. It's a very cool story. Anyway, some of the positives that I really took away. The characters are very unique, very they're special in their own ways. When you're reading, you can definitely tell who's talking based on the language, the mannerisms, and just how they think. It's really cool. Like when I'm reading Tony, I know I'm reading Tony. When I'm reading Maximus, you definitely know you're reading Maximus. Again, Maximus is cool. Like I was saying earlier, it is a light introduction into the literary RPG genre. I have not read any other lit RPG, so this was the first one for me. I did have an easier time understanding it because I have been a gamer in my past life. I still game a little bit, but not nearly as much as I used to. So I understand the terms pretty well. Someone who's not a gamer, they might have a little bit harder time getting into it, but I don't think that'll be the case too bad. It's definitely an interesting read. One of my favorite parts about this was the cliffhanger ending. I mean, it just makes you want to, I want more, give me more right now. And Joe did a fantastic job of constructing that ending. Some things that I didn't quite like, there's at least one spot where there's a formatting error. This was a self-published book, so it might have been an oversight by Joe. But there's a spot, you can see an example right here, where it's showing you a bunch of numbers as a percentage, and there's one spot, the percentage sign is away from the number right and not right next to it, which I thought was a little odd, but definitely not a game breaker for me. I just thought it was different. Another thing that I thought was a little off was Tony's and Jirogu's relationship. Jirogu and Tony's romance seems very, very sudden. Like, they meet, they fight, and then they're in love, which means it just seemed a little rushed. Like, I can understand why, but I mean, just, I don't know, like, didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, at least. And the final thing that I didn't really care, well, it's not that I didn't care for it, is that I found an inconsistency, I think. Maybe I just missed something completely, but I did reread these couple areas a couple of times, and I still didn't see a connection. But essentially, again, a couple spoilers, so skip ahead. Jirogu and Tony are in a romantic relationship. There's one part where Tony's getting ready to meet Jirogu's family, and he's taking a bath. Whenever he's talking to Jirogu, there's a point where he gets out of the bath and he's naked, and he walks over to Jirogu and gives her a hug and kiss. And I believe that's where the description ends. Feels like, to me, no sex. Fast forward towards the end of the book, and then it's talking about Tony's in his head and he's thinking about that moment when he and Jirogu had sex in the bathhouse. So I'm pretty sure I was reading the correct scene, but I don't remember any sex. I think I would remember that. But I don't remember it, and I'm pretty sure I checked it well. So maybe it's just an oversight, an inconsistency. It's small. It definitely does not ruin the book for me at all. I'm just left going, oh, that happened. And again, not a bad thing. Just a small little hiccup, I guess. Anyway, so final thoughts. A very great book. It's nice, it's short. I will definitely be reading it again. A couple times, probably. Especially once book 2 comes out later on at some point. I do believe this is going to be a trilogy, from what I saw on Amazon. So you can definitely get this on Amazon, little plug-in. You can also pick it up at his website, the author's website, at deprof.net, deprof.net. Anyways, for our rating, I'm going to give it 6 out of 10 stars, which is still pretty good. A lot of people seem 6 is bad. If I was going to give it a bad rating, I'd give it 1 or 2, maybe even 3. But at 6, it's definitely a very, very good first entry. I believe this is his first ever book, and it's going to get better from here on out. He's going to work hard. I know you can definitely tell he's putting his heart and soul into this, especially about the parts where he writes about Maximus. I mean, characters is definitely one of Joe's bigger qualities. That's where he shines, I believe. Again, you can see it between all the characters, but especially between Maximus and Tony. That relationship was real. You can tell that was real. Joe even writes a little blurb at the beginning of, I believe it's chapter 10, dedicating the chapter to the idea that Maximus was based off of. Definitely a great read. I highly recommend you pick it up. You have nothing to lose. It's a great story. Give it a try.